John Krasinski just unleashed a shocker that no one saw coming. But honestly, are we even stunned at this point? According to the newest allegations, Blake Lively didn't just bulldoze her way through the It Ends With Us production, she also allegedly attempted to tamper in the marriage of one of Hollywood's most cherished couples, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. Yeah, we're talking that level of chaotic, the same Blake Lively who forced herself into the director's chair on a film she was only supposed to star in, is now being accused of playing puppet controller behind the scenes of someone else's relationship, and this drama couldn't come at a worse time for her, as her lawsuit with Justin Baldwin continues to spiral into one of the ugliest legal fights Hollywood's seen in years. The industry is watching popcorn in hand as this spectacle unfolds, and trust me, it's only getting nastier. It all started on the set of It Ends With Us. And no, we're not talking about the film script or the plotline here.
That the publicist was planting stories about him. He's got receipts. His lawyer was just responding publicly to what she initiated. Literally moments ago, Baldoni's attorney.
They shared those together. They concocted a complaint that they filed with the Civil Rights Division. They omitted texts that would have provided context.
We're talking about the behind-the-scenes turmoil where Blake Lively allegedly seized control of the entire production, yanking authority right out of Justin Baldwin's hands. Sources from the team claimed that Lively wasn't content with just playing the starring role. Oh no, she wanted the whole show. Every creative choice, every camera shot, every line performance. She reportedly inserted herself into meetings meant for the director, overruling Baldwin's decisions and making it impossible for him to run the show the way he originally planned. Insiders say the set quickly turned poisonous with morale hitting.
And that really they're bored and rich. Another circumstance that made me see right through Ryan Reynolds and the kind of person that he is when, despite being friends with Joe Alwyn, who dated Taylor Swift for 5 years. She's best friends with Blake Lively.
There's just so much more to this story, and the media's already like self-flagellating. Oh, we were too mean to Blake. And now you see text messages from Blake Lively comparing herself. She's the mother of dragons in Game of Thrones, that she too has her dragons, Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift.
Rock bottom is cast, and crew were forced to navigate Lively's alleged prima donna behavior. One crew member even described the vibe as walking on eggshells, because any disagreement with Blake was a fast track to being iced out of the process completely. And let's be real, when the star of the movie decides they know better than the actual director, that's not collaboration, that's a hostile takeover. The fallout from Blake's behind-the-scenes power grab didn't stay quiet for long. In December 2024, Lively officially filed a lawsuit against Baldoni, lobbing heavy accusations his way.
You did not know both of their lawsuits have been consolidated into one legal showdown instead of these two separate lawsuits.
The kind of lawsuit that is full of evidence, documents, which prove exactly what she did to take over the movie.
She claimed that Baldwin had created a hostile work environment, accusing him of SH, and of launching a targeted smear campaign to discredit her. But if Blake thought Baldwin was going to roll over, she was dead wrong. Baldwin came back swinging with a countersuit so big it made headlines on its own. $400 million, that's the number he slapped on the damages, accusing Blake, her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and even their publicist of defamation, civil extortion, and a deliberate effort to ruin his reputation and career.
They worked with the New York Times. Her publicist worked directly with the New York Times. They shared illegally obtained text messages.
Well, she filed a civil rights complaint in Los Angeles, and then within 24 hours, the New York Times had the scoop. They published the complaint in its entirety, and it looked suspicious.
According to Baldwin's legal team, this wasn't just about creative differences, it was about calculated sabotage. The countersuit painted a picture of Blake as someone who not only seized control of the project, but then tried to bury anyone who resisted. And the worst part, it worked, because Baldwin's career took a direct hit almost immediately. You know, the drama is bad when Taylor Swift's name gets dragged into the middle of it. But here we are as the lawsuits heated up the list of people tied. To to this mess started.
On Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie, It Ends With Us, a film about domestic violence. And was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it. And to the point where this guy was in the basement at his own movie's premiere. And that what in fact happened was you guys were the ones out there generating negative press against Justin. You guys were the ones who were trying to ruin just growing.
And Fast Swift and Hugh Jackman were both reportedly eyed for subpoenas thanks to their close connections to Blake and Ryan. And here's where it gets even juicier. Taylor allegedly had influence over the film itself.
The New York Times apparently reviewed 1,000 or more pages of text messages. They would have seen it. Justin never wanted to hurt her, never wanted to be negative to her. And it's all over the place.
I know for a fact that the mainstream media will lie and they will smear on behalf of their powerful friends. I believe in due process, which is why I always read the facts of the case before accepting the media narrative.
Giving input on script changes and artistic direction. That's right, America's Darling might have been playing shadow producer without the official title. Insiders say her fingerprints are all over key decisions made during the shoot, decisions that conveniently aligned with Lively's vision for the movie.
The conclusion here, I have said this since before, long before this ever broke out between her and Justin Baldoni. Blake Lively is not a good person, that she has proven herself not to be a kind person. From Armie Hammer, who got fired from Gossip Girl because he said during a dinner that she was a bitch, regarding Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, when I just recognize that they are up on their high horses and that they potentially treat people very bad.
And Hugh Jackman, his friendship with Reynolds allegedly positioned him right in the middle of this firestorm too. Both of their testimonies could end up being crucial if this circus ever makes it to trial. The question is how many more A-listers are going to get pulled into this vortex before it's over. If there's one thing Blake Lively seems to excel at, it's reading the room completely wrong, because While It Ends With Us was being promoted as a gut-wrenching story about DV and toxic relationships.
Okay, and that's largely due to the fact that she is a modern feminist, and so she has to create struggle where there just isn't any. Okay,
shitty product with atrocious marketing. You have yourself a disastrous brand that will go out of business.
Customers are not only offloading these subpar products, but are also flooding social media with viral outcries demanding accountability. Blake was out here gleefully plugging her alcohol brand and hair care line like she was at a lifestyle influencer. Retreat fans were furious. Social media lit up with comments calling her tone-deaf, disrespectful, and out of touch. How do you sell lavender gin and beach waves while starring in a movie about a woman surviving DV? The lack of awareness was so glaring. Even Lively's most loyal fans had a hard time defending it, and it wasn't just the audience citing her.
So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he accuses Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively of colluding with the New York Times. Do you guys remember what the article was actually entitled that they actually released on 12? Can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine. Another bombshell, and this time it is pertaining to the New York Times. Amazingly, you're not going to believe this, okay? It looks like Justin Baldoni may have a very strong case against the New York Times.
Industry insiders reportedly felt the promotional tour itself became a walking contradiction instead of honoring the film's message. Blake allegedly made it about herself, once again grabbing the spotlight and steering the narrative her way, because why respect the material when you can use the moment to boost your personal brands? Right? Just when you thought the lively drama couldn't get any messier. Enter John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. The rumor mill has been working overtime with claims that Blake Lively allegedly tried to meddle in their marriage, and not in a casual, behind-the-scenes gossip kind of way. This was allegedly direct manipulation, planting seeds of doubt and stirring the pot between the couple. Let's not forget Blake and Emily have run in the same Hollywood circles for years. Mutual friends, overlapping projects, red carpet run-ins. But sources say Lively's involvement went way beyond friendly advice. The whisper suggests that Blake saw Emily as competition and wasn't afraid to make that known. Of course, Krasinski and Blunt have kept things buttoned up in public, holding hands and showing up together at events to silence the divorce talk. But even their best PR efforts haven't fully killed the rumors, and let's be honest, smoke usually means fire. The ripple effects from this disaster haven't just been splashed across gossip blogs, they've slammed straight into beau careers, reputations, and the future of multiple A-listers, and at the center of it all, Blake Lively sitting in the eye of the storm, seemingly unfazed while everything around her catches fire. the first major casualty in this mess. Justin Belden himself, almost immediately after Blake's harassment accusations hit the press, Balan was unceremoniously dropped by his talent agency. No warning, no investigation, just cut loose. Some insiders have called it performative damage control, arguing that the agency jumped ship way too soon, especially considering Belden's $400 million countersuit that laid out a completely different version of events. His lawsuit didn't just fire back. It scorched earth, accusing Blake Ryan Reynolds and their PR machine of engineering a full-blown character assassination campaign. But here's the kicker. Despite the chaos, Blake Lively somehow managed to keep a few key allies firmly in her corner. Colleen Hoover, the author of It Ends With Us, doubled down on her support for Blake, standing by the casting and the vision Lively forced into the production Hoovers. Backing wasn't quiet either. It was loud, proud, and defiant. On top of that, SAG-AFTRA, the actors' union, publicly echoed support for Lively, framing her as a woman speaking out against alleged mistreatment. And just like that, the narrative of Blake as the brave victim started circulating, but not without pushback, because behind the scenes, the tone is a lot less forgiving. According to multiple reports, directors, producers, and studio heads are now quietly asking the same question: is working with Blake Lively worth the risk? One casting executive even admitted off the record that Lively's name has become radioactive in certain circles, especially among male directors who fear becoming the next target if they butt heads with her on. Set the vibe is nervous, the vibe is cautious. And if you believe the whispers, several projects that previously had Lively on the shortlist are now exploring other options. But let's be clear, this isn't just about the lawsuits. This is about the growing pile of stories leaking out from the It Ends With Us set and beyond. Former crew members, assistants, and even junior producers have started painting a very different picture of Blake behind the scenes. We're talking diva demands creative, bulldozing, and a reputation for steamrolling anyone who disagrees with her. One source described the environment as dictatorship energy. Another said, you either fall in line with Blake's vision or you're out. Big game. And as those stories pile up, the industry has started to split into two very vocal camps. On one side, you've got the Lively defenders, the ones who argue that she's just a strong, assertive woman in a male-dominated space, fighting for creative control like so many male actors have done before her without being labeled difficult. They frame her as bold, unapologetic, and unwilling to play nice, just to keep the peace. But on the other side, you've got the people who aren't buying that spin. At all. To them, Blake isn't fighting for empowerment. She's allegedly playing dirty, manipulating situations, leveraging her influence and pulling whatever strings she needs to in order to stay on top. One industry insider put it bluntly, there's a difference between standing up for yourself and trampling everybody around you to get your way. The worst part, even some of Lively's former defenders are allegedly starting to distance themselves. There's talk that a few high-profile collaborators have been quietly backing out of future partnerships, citing scheduling conflicts and creative differences. But the rumor mill says it's all about not wanting to be caught in the crossfire if this legal disaster keeps blowing up. And let's not forget about the PR nightmare surrounding Ryan Reynolds, with his name now tied to the countersuit and accusations that he helped orchestrate a smear campaign against Baldoni. Reynolds is finding himself dragged into the mess whether he likes it or not. And while he's tried to keep a low profile through all of this industry, insiders are wondering how long he can stay quiet before the fallout starts touching his own projects. The real kicker here is that no matter how this lawsuit ends, whether Blake wins in court or not, the damage to her reputation has already been done. Studios hate risk, and right now, Blake Lively looks like a liability, because at the end of the day, Hollywood has a short memory for success, but a very long one for drama. And Blake's name is now sitting at the top of a list no one wants to be on, but that's not even the worst of it, because as we're about to see, this fight might be just the beginning of her troubles. At this point, Blake Lively's reputation isn't just bruised, it's hemorrhaging between the lawsuit against Baldoni, the countersuit that drags her husband and publicist into the mix, the celebrity subpoenas, the promotional missteps, and now the Krasinski blunt marriage scandal. It's hard to imagine a clean comeback from this Hollywood loves a redemption arc, but this feels different. This feels personal. The power plays, the takeover, the alleged sabotage. It all paints a picture of a star who refuses to share the stage, no matter the cost. And as the legal battle heads toward what could be a brutal trial, one thing is clear: this fight is far from over. The question isn't whether Blake Lively will win or lose, it's how much more damage she'll do along the